Well, hello YouTube. This is, let's see, February 21st, also known as Make Me Day plus 10. And if I am counting my days correctly here, it is day 342 of the 15-day lockdown. So here's where you are. You have some problems, and we have some solutions. So let's get to it. So March 13th will be the first public reading of the Declaration of Make Me Day. And it is Declaration of Independence style. It is, we got to do this. So we also have some other cool speakers lined up, and the list is growing. And we need everybody at the Capitol in Hartford on March 13th at noon. And this is not a political party thing, even though this is sponsored by the Libertarian Party of Connecticut. This is a people want to be free thing. This is a partisan thing. So leave the Trump rah Republican stuff at home. We've got a job to do, and that's what we're going to do. And do note, we do have some Republican speakers. Those are, but they're the good guys actually doing something. So they stand out, and those are the kind of people. Well, let's just leave the politics at that. So updates on our project. We have a FOIA project to actually list all of the Karens that are doing the complaining, and we finally got some results. Good job, Old Lyme and Canterbury. Nobody has screamed. Nobody has complained since Make Me Day. Keep up the good work. Be decent people. Killingly, we got the first guy that is number 2 on the list because he's the first one we got. Guy named John Ferland complained about the Dollar General in Danielson, and the town checked it out, and that happened on February 11th. He called. There were no COVID violations, but however, there is a second person on the list now. So good job, John. You don't want to buy, sell, trade with anybody participating in Make Me Day. Well, you just did it. So that's the way this is going to work. And by the way, the COVID reporter function is up on MakeMeDay.com. So if you know someone who is an officer, or someone from an inspector from the government coming out to enforce or deal with a COVID investigation complaint, report them, report the victim, and report the name. And they go on the list. And once we get some website details figured out, that list gets published. I submitted a total of 17 FOIA requests, and we're going to start mopping up this mess. It's going to cover everything from who the Karens are since Make Me Day, and it's also going to cover some of the testing methodology. The Department of Public Health, by the way, they did respond. They did get my FOIA request. It's been productive dialogue. But the one thing you should all know, as they told me, was late in 2020, they converted the travel ban enforcement mechanism to anonymous reporting. So in other words, it became a gulag type of system where anybody can rat on anybody. And that's the world we're not going to live in. That's why Make Me Day is a thing. So do use that. Do not use this. This system has very concrete rules, okay? You can't, unlike the COVID screamers, you can't use Make Me Day because you got an axe to grind, or, you just don't like someone's face or whatever, you disagree with their beliefs. What it is you have to identify who the enforcer is, who the victim is, and when it happened and where it happened and what it affected. And, we're not going to do it unless there's actually, some proof of it. I mean, think of it this way. You'd be willing to raise your right hand and swear any court of law under oath that, yes, you did witness this COVID enforcer doing this to person or business A, B, or Y, or whatever. So use that. And no, it isn't a screamer in public that, wants to badger you about wearing a mask. We're talking about the enforcers, and we're talking about the people actually calling to make the complaints and the enforcers come out. So This has to happen. That's the only way it's going to work. And of course, we do have the Make Me Day self-certification for businesses and the no trespassing notice. Those are up. Use those. Let the world know this is a thing. Now, I do want to kind of make a note for anybody who is watching this who happens to, believe we still need these restrictions. Let's just lay out the facts, shall we? There's a video in the description that basically it gives you the curves. We've tested your theory, and your theory was, well, we need to do all this in the name of grandma and hospital capacities and whatever. And the data is in. You're wrong. End of story. The catastrophizing has to stop. There's another video on this channel where we kind of go through, it was, I believe it was called day 320, days of lockdown. Paraphrasing, but we went through the whole thing. We went through the don't wear masks and wear the masks, and then it's like we've got this miracle jab, but we still want you to do all this. And no, the bottom line is the data's in. The curves moved independently of all this nonsense safety theater. And by the way, those temperature guns, throw them away. They're useless too. I don't know. A lot of people have mentioned that, but it's time. So the bottom line is they're never going to leave us alone. They have to be made to leave us alone by these executive orders and restrictions being, cast out, morally condemned, and rendered absolutely unenforceable, because they are, and they ought to be. Nobody does this because they like to. Nobody wears a mask because they think they're actually saving anybody, unless they're wrong, unless they refuse to look at the data. Unless they refuse to actually look at those curves, which on this channel, we show them. This is what you wanted, this is what you got, and now the curves are moving independently. So, it's it. I mean, we've never done anything like this before, and 5 years from now, you're probably going to have a lot of documentaries, news shows, about those kids that didn't get to learn for a whole year. Or kids that were abused, but nobody found it because lockdowns and restrictions. Or, all the lives we've ruined over this screaming. This is the new Iraq war, my friends. And those of us who remember the Iraq war, remember the BS of the beginning. WMDs. We don't want the mushroom cloud to be over here. We got to go in. It's only going to cost $80 billion. And years later, we all kind of look back and go, wow, that was stupid. And so we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that by waiting for, King Lamont in this state and whatever your king or queen may be in another state to decide, I'm sick of the federal emergency money and I'm sick of the power trip. Because that's all it is. And as far as these screamers, who want to say, well, 400,000 people died with COVID. Tell me about the people who died of COVID, okay? Tell the truth. Tell me the people who legit died of COVID, because George Floyd died with COVID, okay? You saw the video. Clearly that was not COVID killing him. So March 13th, do be at the Capitol in Hartford at noon. And, do be ready. We're going to have a mass signing of the Declaration of Make Me Day. We had some logistical issues. We had some delays. There was a lot of noise at a few events, but we've gotten everything good and we're ready to launch. So if you're not in Connecticut and you are watching this, please share this. Make Me Day needs to be a thing in every state. My understanding is Tennessee is going to be up and running. So that's 2 of us. We will make more. And I know we have 38 states with present mask mandates right now. And it's not just the mask mandates. Like, don't mistake this effort. It's about the endless emergency. It's about the endless restrictions. It's about conditions that are going to throw 40 million people on the street. So this is serious. And so, by the way, if the screamers want to make exceptions for racism to be a public health issue because, the Democrats want to let people riot on the highway, or, and Trump's no angel, believe me. I never was a fan. I don't like carnival barkers, but I'll tell you what, the hypocrisy has to stop. We cannot have these exceptions and all this where, like, Racism gets to be a public health issue, but none of the lockdowns get to be a public health issue. So the bottom line is, we live in a system which we have to grapple with the reality at some point of the imposers and the imposed upon. So in order to even get to that, we have to just say enough is enough. Stop the hypocrisy, whoever does it. We're not doing it anymore. This country was, at least in theory, at some point, a place where we didn't just arbitrarily make things up, and just because there was a majority, they got to take the minority stuff and do whatever the heck they wanted to them. That's all this is. And the public messaging, gosh, there's been. I'm reaching the point where I'm just like, look, a lot of this is an outright lie. A lot of this messaging. I mean, if you believe in the vaccine so much, then drop this nonsense now. If it's 95% effective, just drop it now. But, they don't plan to. And so that's why we're going to say, make me. So if you're in Connecticut, be at the Capitol March 13th at noon. Stand with us and say, the emergency is over, whether you like it or not. And if you live in another state, do Make Me Day in your state. Everything's available. It's open source. We know how to do it. We're going to get it done. And then we can start the process of picking up the pieces. But until we end the restrictions, the damage is profound. So we're going to get it done. That's what we're going to do. We're not waiting for a Republican or a Democrat or some election or somebody else to do it. We are going to do it. And at the end of the day, it's our job. So be well, take care of yourselves. Obviously, use your common sense. If you're sick, stay home. I mean, don't do anything you ordinarily wouldn't have done as of March 8th, 2020, because it's here. And we got some work to do. So stay well. I'll talk to you soon, and let's get it done. And I'll see you on the 13th. Looking forward to it.